This is going to be a bit of a strange video because I'm just going to kind of ramble on about my time with Destiny as a franchise, because even with people like DMG tweeting to obviously rile the community up to try and save the game, I do legitimately think the fight is over. I think it's a fight we lost a long time ago, and I just need to make something like this for myself, really. And sure, behind the scenes I've been a bit of a Destiny doomer, but at the end of the day, I missed it. I just wanted the game I love to actually come back and show any sign of progression, instead of the immediate stagnation it had after the high that was the final shape. And that's why I never covered it again after that review, and I wanted to, right? I wanted to talk about this game. I never wanted to stop playing it, but that first season or episode, whatever name they gave it, what was it, Echoes? I think it was Echoes. But it was awful, and it just hard pushed me away. Now fast forward 2 years later, and part of me feels guilty about everything, which is a weird thing to say and feel about a video game, but it's partly what I'm feeling, because with how unceremoniously everything is just ending, it gives me the impression that, you know, we as a community let the people who genuinely loved making this game down. And I'm not blaming myself or anyone other than the absolute brain-dead troglodytes that are Bungie upper management. Like, let me make that abundantly clear. I'm in the guilt stage of grief, nothing more.
Because I've had enough of this dude. He's kind of right out of the frame. Okay.
And I'm finding it absolutely wild that we get this one last update to the game, and it's everything people have wanted for years. And if this had launched alongside a really good story DLC, this would have saved the game. I have absolutely zero doubts about that. Absolutely none whatsoever. And I'm actually stunned that they're cancelling the DLC. Like, with how close Shattered Cycle must be to being totally finished, why not just put it out there at this point, especially with the reaction the news has gotten and how excited everyone is about the final update? And I think that's my biggest thing here. It feels like we only got 2 strikes and we're out. Like, Edge of Fate and Renegades didn't do the numbers in sales or retention, so we've been robbed of that 3rd attempt. So yeah, I know it's not going to change anything because it's Sony and Bungie leadership, but I signed that petition. I played the game for seemingly the last time. I wanted my voice heard, even if it was just shouting at the wall. But that's enough about all that. This was supposed to be about my time with Destiny, because I was with this game for the majority of the 12 years. I was there from the beta and I saw all of it. I wasn't necessarily in the game for it, but I saw all of it. I've probably forgotten more about this game than some people can even remember. And you know, was it a perfect game? Absolutely not. Couldn't have been further from it. In fact, Destiny should have been the textbook definition of potential, man. But for 10 years, it was my game. And I say 10 years because, as I said at the time, when I made the one and only video covering any Destiny content on the channel, the final shape was the final chance of me. And I'll give them their dues, I loved that expansion. It was everything I could have wanted, and the further I get out from it, the more I look back and that feeling grows more and more. I honestly couldn't have asked for a better ending, especially with the end of the service update. But this game was just special, you know. Sure, it's not the first looter shooter, it's not even the first FPS quote MMO. It didn't even perfect the looter part or the MMO part to really make it stand out. It stood out because it had the gameplay down, it had that mystery element to it, it had the visual design and the soundtrack to carry this thing. There's generally nothing like it, and I don't think there ever will be again. And regardless of all of Bungie's faults, right, they had that secret sauce. I don't even think they know what it was, but they had it anyway. And with nothing else like it, there's no longer a place for the community to go, and I think that's the saddest part of it all. We started out as Guardians and we end up as Elixni. We realize what we've lost, and we are forced to just drift through other places looking for a new home. But I'm lucky, I quickly found that Final Fantasy XIV really clicks with me, and I'm not going to tell anyone what game they should just play, because again, nothing did it like Destiny, nothing ever felt as good as Destiny. Warframe doesn't have the end game. I can't go to Apex because I'm still mad about Titanfall. 14, again, I was really lucky that he just clicked because I was already a Final Fantasy guy, so it wasn't much of a leap. I just still highly recommend trying it, but I know full well that's not what people want or need to hear right now. But there was so much of 14 that reminded me of Destiny, like, not in a one-for-one comparison kind of way, but in that sense of discovery. Going through that world and remind me of how it felt seeing Vault of Glass for the first time. And I'll never forget my first Vault of Glass. Sure, I knew all the mechanics because I studied that raid for like a week before jumping into LFG to try it, but that was still my first Destiny raid, and that was my first raid in a game in general. I can honestly still replay the first couple of hours in my head where we were being led by this squeaker who, God bless his heart, was trying way too hard to sound cool. Like, okay, little guy, calm down now, we get it. But We took a while to open the door. We hung back and cheesed the oracles with icebreakers. Somehow we made it through Gorgon's first go, and my first weapon drop from that was Vision of Confluence, and I immediately took that thing into PvP and just ran with it. I adored that thing, and I was so happy and proud of myself for actually getting through it, but there's nothing else like that. Destiny had this sense of discovery and whimsy that I honestly hadn't felt since the original Pokemon Red and Blue. Fate of All Falls at its time, 10 years, 12 years ago, was just Mew being under the truck, and it's those sort of things that I'll miss. Galahorn being sold in, what was it, the first week of Xur, and no one had enough strange coins for it, and if you did, you'd looked at it as a waste of coins because they were hard as fuck to come by in the beginning. And it's stories like that I'm gonna miss, and goddamn, the span of this game is full of stories like that. We can jump forward to Destiny 2 in the 15th Wish. It's just these natural moments that tell a story. Like, sure, the 15th Wish was actually a thing because it was data mined but taken out. But you jump forward a few years and they turn this into an actual plot beat in the game, and I'm just really gonna miss Destiny. I could sit here for hours and talk about everything this game gave us over its 12 years, but I honestly had, like I imagine a few people did, a fairly up and down time through Destiny and Destiny 2. But I can tell you the exact moment everything clicked for me, and it was in the beta, right in the middle of the Sepix Prime strike. And don't get me wrong, the Sepix music goes too hard for a strike boss. It's incredible. But there's that room where the Fallen and the Hive all start coming in, and there's that balcony that you can hide on, and the Vandal snipers stood on that middle platform. Like, you all know the place, but the moment those drums started and the violin kicks in with the dun 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 dun, and I just sat there like, I get it. The Halo effect fully kicked in for me, and that moment has stuck with me for 12 years, and it's become a bit of a thinking music for me. Like, I'm actually listening to it right now as I type this out. But End of the Line itself, it did something to my brain, and from that moment on I was just obsessed. So much so that when we first done Deepstone Crypt, I stopped that raid in its tracks so everyone would listen to Deepstone Lullaby. And since that initial run, we all just shut up because we all want to listen to it in the context of its moment. Same for the Vault in Last Wish. I'll never experience something so natural where everyone just goes silent when that music kicks in, and everyone's just so in sync with each other and the game, and I'm just really gonna miss it. And I think that was always a huge part of what made Destiny special. It's how synchronized the community would get over things, because I remember seeing the community freak out about this little secret in IO, and I'd basically jumped off into a sabbatical at that point for Destiny, but I was still keeping up with the news and what's going on, so I followed people unraveling this thread, and then it just goes straight into the Whisper mission. What an actually insane time for Destiny, and something that was nearly scrapped because Whisper of the Worm was data mined and data miners. But again, iconic music, the green room jump puzzle. Oh my god, Bungie, how dare you make that mission timed so I couldn't just chill out there indefinitely. But missions like Whisper of the Worm would continue across the game. You had Novi Labs, 0 Hour, The Other Side, Avalon, Whetstone, and Dual Destiny. Well, I don't think any of them captured exactly what Whisper did. Like, I remember people hating Novi Labs, for example. Like, I loved every single one of them, but none of them had that, oh, we just found this thing completely by accident story behind it. But those sorts of puzzles were always part of what made Destiny Destiny. I wasn't playing at the time, again, but Corridors of Time, like, I followed that, and that was nuts. It's a shame Bastion wasn't exactly great, but I can say confidently that whatever happens in the future, my Guardian doesn't canonically die because I never saw my own grave. So my Guardians are therefore eternal, but seeing the community go absolutely rabid over an ARG like that and coming together to pitch in their own pieces and solve this puzzle, like, it was honestly a beautiful sight to witness. And as I've said, Destiny wasn't all highs. There's some absolutely mind-boggling lows and some I'll never really understand. Like, I get a developer reason for them. I don't understand the leadership argument behind everything. Like, the content vault, what the f was that about? Why delete the entire opening of your game with no intention of ever bringing it fully back? Because early Destiny 2 didn't get a lot out of me. I never did Leviathan until 2019, but that was the beginning of me really getting balls deep into the Destiny endgame. But it wouldn't be until Arrivals that I actually just fully gave myself over to the game. But taking away everything pre-Shadowkeep, it was then, and now that the game is in the end of service, it's even more right? And as I said, I fully understand it from a technical development standpoint, and I'd be fine if they were actually allowed to rebuild it to make it work again in engine, but the leadership seemingly never had any intention of that. So I don't really want to focus on the bad of this video. But it was unironically that period of time with the build up to Beyond Light with Season of Arrivals and Beyond Light itself where I had the most fun with this game. And I know it's not the most iconic loadout, but Witherhoard, the Iclos SMG and Fallen Guillotine, like, take me back to that moment, please. Or literally anything with Anarchy, because I never actually had the Mountaintop and Recluse, so I never had that iconic catch-all loadout. But I ran Anarchy for so long. But that initial Witherhoard Iclos Guillotine pairing like with Stasis Hunter, like immaculate moment for me. I've been chasing that high ever since. And sure, Void Grafalcon's Hunter is a very close second for me, but Stasis stole my heart, and again, it's something that no other game has anything close to, and I don't even know how to start trying to fill in that hole. And that run from Arrivals to the final shape with all of its highs and lows, I'll forever be thankful for, because it felt like I'd finally fully unlocked this game that I've loved warts and all after 6 years. It was finally fully open to me, and it gave me some of the best memories and of any game, and memories that I don't even think will ever be matched again. Like, I'd finally managed to take part in a day one raid race with Deepstone Crypt. I'd done several really long Divinity runs in Garden of Salvation. I got my first raid title with Vowed Disciple. I finished the contest mode with Root of Nightmares. I'd done Dungeon Solo, I got and then Gilded Conqueror a few times. I went flawless in Trials of Osiris. My first flawless was actually done with that load in at the same time and jump off the edge of the map tricks. I'd done it legit several times after that though, so I don't feel too bad about it. Like, I had everything in this game from Arrival onwards, right? I even did Last Wish legit, which much to the clan's disgust, who they didn't want to do it, but I'll treasure that memory of finally beating it at like 3 in the morning. But that period of time with Beyond Light, Witch Queen to the final shape will always be my favorite, both in the game and out of it. Like, everything just felt like it was firing on all cylinders. Like, okay, maybe not Lightfall, that was very clearly not supposed to happen that way, but I still had fun with it and everyone playing the game. But ultimately, my time with Destiny ends with the final shape, and I'll be honest, I've missed the ever-living fuck out of this game. It's been hard not to come back, but nothing ever really looked like it would be worth any more of my time than a few hours before I jumped back off again, and I couldn't bring myself to do that again, like not after the last 2 years of playing Final Fantasy XIV. But I'll be honest as well, I'm happy with where my Guardian stories have ended. We stopped the Black Heart, we stopped Oryx, Siva, we beat the Cabal in the Red War, we avenged Cade, we did whatever Shadowkeep was, talking to a triangle, there. Like, we did it all, really, and I'll deeply miss this world and its lore. It's been my favorite for 10 years. Like, nothing has ever come close to scratching the itch that Destiny just did. Like, was it messy and convoluted? Absolutely. Was it some of the coolest shit you can see and read? You bet it is. Like, Books of Sorrows and Shattered Suns will always live in my head rent-free, like spending years waiting and hoping that Nezarec would show up for him to finally make an appearance in the raid that I beat on contest mode. Like, despite being the quote easy and controversial one, but I don't care. Like, no one can take that away from me, and I thought it was cool as shit. I honestly loved the story of Destiny. I loved the idea of the 9. I know the new saga was going to be about them, and rightly so, but yeah, like, that's been cut short before it could even really do anything. But I was honestly waiting on a Destiny 3 to tackle them, and it seems like that was supposed to be the plan, but hey, here we are. You know, Destiny 2 is now end of service. There's news that a Destiny 3 has been pitched several times and was originally the plan for after the final shape. But this franchise has been guided to failure, and that's very nice for 3 people. And with Marathon not doing hot and even more layoffs seemingly hitting Bungie, like, I think it's time to cut the last attachment thread I think I have, and it's partially the narrative team's fault. Like, they gave me too good of an ending, like an off-ramp too great. And I say that with nothing but respect and love to the narrative team. It's the biggest compliment I think I could actually give them. Like, You cooked the ending too hard, and Bungie management and Sony never gave us a reason to believe that the future was that bright for Destiny. But you gave me specifically the ending the game deserved. Like, it was honestly perfect. And if there's any chance in the future and, you know, I'm alive to see it, like, I'll be there day one. Like, try to keep me away. I'll be like a sleeper agent being activated after decades of living a normie life. Well, I say a normie, I jumped to Final Fantasy 14, and again, I'm not going to tell anyone to do the same. I know it's the last thing people want to hear now, and I can relate, but what I will say is don't look for a Destiny replacement, because there honestly isn't one. It does not exist, and it will never exist, because only Bungie is able to make Destiny. So my advice is to try something different. Searching for a replacement just feels like you're painting over your time with Destiny, and the game doesn't deserve that. Find something new and different. Like, you might be surprised with something like a Final Fantasy 14. You might not be. There's so much out there. Just don't limit yourself. Like, the important thing is to remember where we came from. Like, we're all fallen now. Destiny is our race. Like, we have to start over. But I've rambled on way too long. Like, I don't even really know what I wanted to say with this video outside of this just being a personal reminder of my time with the game for myself. And sure, I could go on for hours about this game and my time on it. Like, how we used to play hide and seek in the tower because there wasn't enough people online to fill a raid, and we didn't care enough to LFG to fill the slots. But I feel like I've said enough. I love this game. I will always love this game. I'll never forget about it and the people I met along the way. And I hope someday that we'll be able to meet again in the stars. So thank you everyone at Bungie who built and loved this game as much as I and the whole community did. You did something incredible that will never be repeated by anyone else. And
you're my favorite. Don't ever forget that.
And with that, I've been Mitch692. You and Destiny have been great. Make sure to check out the actual content on the channel, not this mess of a ramble. And if things don't end up going our way, well,
at least the stars will remember the shape I gave them.